everybody, it's me GhostCritic and it's time for a retro comic rewind video, and we're getting better at choosing the comics, aren't we? People are starting to listen to the instructions. One more thing I probably need to add, and this goes out to, I think his name's Jack Slater, who's been posting and asking for letters on these videos. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is, Jack, but I can't reply to them. There isn't a reply button. I don't know if that's your settings. I did send you a message. Unfortunately, you probably haven't read it yet, so you missed out this week. It was going to be you, but instead, AwesomeLoveSuperDyke picked letter R, and then she picked number 84. AwesomeLoveSuperDyke, she doesn't do any videos, but she certainly has a taste for the comic book videos, liking all of our community's videos. I've seen her watching Sleepy Reader 666, MAW 00001. Oh, there's loads of them. Just go to her video page and you can see what she's like lately. Most likely, you'll be on there. Anyway, what is R? What is number 84? It's Red Sonja. Issue 4 from the Marvel premiere. We're going way back now. Finally, something from the 70s. In fact, May 1976. Written by Bruce Jones with art by Frank Thorne. This was a fun read, and I do mean that. It really was nice to go back and just have fun with a comic book for a change. The story, well, Red Sonja has turned up in what appears to at first to be a deserted town. Where does she head first? Of course, it's the local tavern because she's thirsty, needs a flagon of mead. By the time, before she can even like order, she's suddenly beset upon by the villagers who thinks she is the town witch, or the witch that has been apparently turning the villagers to stone. So we have this huge mob mentality which Red Sonja tries to kind of fight back, but through sheer force of numbers they overcome her and knock her out almost. And through the leadership of this woman of the town, they send her off to be hanged. Of course, as all this is going on, there's a scream of terror from far on the other side of the village, and we find out that yet another, in this case a child, has been turned to stone. Of course, everyone's feeling a slight bit guilty because it couldn't have possibly been Red Sonja then, as it had only just happened, and they all go racing back to try and well, hopefully find Red Sonja still alive after being hanged. What they do find is that Sonja has been rescued by a kind of malformed giant. They call him a half-wit, but he has kind of rescued her, flung her over his shoulder and ran off. This part is kind of the exposition where we find out apparently there's this kind of monster called the Gorgon going around the village seeking revenge of some description and turning all the villagers to stone. So he steals a horse for her and says, just run, escape, leave all this madness behind you. Of course, Red Sonja can't just leave it there. She has to go and investigate. And when she comes back to the village, she finds some sort of kind of sacrifice going on. This poor scantily clad lady is hung up on a cross with what appears to be like a multi-headed serpent coming towards her. Everyone screaming, "Gorgon! Gorgon!" And it's all very frenzied, and kind of black artsy, and Sonja runs in to kind of save them all. And here we have the introduction of Gorgon, and it's kind of like this ghoulish character with, of course, the serpents all around her head as hair. What happens? Red Sonja gets turned to stone. What's going to happen now? Well, she kind of wakes up in a prison cell. Apparently not made of stone anymore. And over the other side, there's this huge prison with lots and lots of the other villagers being held captive. Apparently, no, these villagers aren't being turned to stone. We find out that the woman that led the mob at the start is really behind all this, and it's kind of a revenge on the town for kind of turning their back on her son, who was the malformed giant. And it looks as though, you know, Red Sonja is going to be imprisoned in this cell until she dies. There's a kind of explanation that, you know, in all the chaos, they injected or made her drink some sort of slow acting poison or petrification, some sort of spell anyway, that had slowed Sonja's body metabolism, and so she couldn't move. And while the villagers weren't looking, she was whisked away, and a kind of stone statue that had just recently been carved of her was put in its place so as to make the villagers believe that she had been turned to stone. Of course, it all gets wrapped up by Sonja escaping and seeking vengeance on her captors, and it never works out well for the poor malformed half-wit. It was a really fun read. There are plot holes as big as the Grand Canyon in here. Your kind of suspension of disbelief is stretched to its limit, but it's fun. It doesn't really take itself too seriously. It knows it's a bit silly. It's a bit Scooby-Doo and the gang, you know, supernatural happenings, but in fact it's got nothing supernatural at all, and it's kind of like The Last Person you probably think of. But it was a great fun story. It wasn't bogged down with kind of like a real existential storyline or sort of like character angst. It was just a great kind of fantasy barbarian lady scantily clad in chainmail throwing her sword about. What more can you expect from the 70s? I do really appreciate the 70s, and as silly as they could be, it was just pure comic book entertainment. Frank Thorne's artwork on here is just a delight to watch, to look at. And if you ever get the chance, these are really cheap. I think I picked these up for like £1 each, maybe even 50p each. They're not expensive to buy, and even to find. These aren't kind of scarce, and I would recommend picking up. It's only a very small run. I think it lasted about 6 to 8 issues, but fun all the way. So thank you to AwesomeLoveSuperDyke for choosing the letter and the number for this week's video. If you want to pick next week's, follow the instructions after this video, and who knows, I could be mentioning you next week. Take care, have fun, bye.